Right, so turns out that the last video actually did pretty well, and people finding out what's the most difficult module at Oxford for physics students, and I was like, that blew up way more than any of the gym stuff that I did. But I mean, guess some people in the world don't have their priorities quite in check like myself and everything. So I thought, why not? Let's make a couple more videos like that, and everything would be good fun, and it just saves me procrastinating doing revision and everything. So, right. So for this video, obviously you can kind of see from the title, pros and cons or goods and bads, whatever I land up really titling in and everything, be comparing what it's like being at Oxford versus somewhere like where I did my undergrad at Exeter and everything. So kind of like your bog standard Russell Group uni versus like Oxford, Cambridge, because people care enough about that type of stuff. So why not? Let's get into it kind of thing. So I think what I'll do is I'll do a little bit of a pro, then hit everyone with a con kind of thing, so we're not swaying the balance board too much. We'll start off high, get everyone lifted up, then we'll crash it all down and go, oh, I only remember the bad stuff, or, vice versa kind of thing. Let's keep it equal. Let's keep it unbiased and very neutral in our discussion and everything. So I'll start off with the pro and everything. I think the main reason that I actually wanted to go to somewhere like Oxford, obviously I wanted to just change up. I was getting quite bored of being at the same place, very small city and everything, and I just wanted a change of scenery. But what I really wanted was to start seeing a lot of people that really just wanted to enjoy the subject almost as much as I did in my undergrad. I felt I was quite different to a lot of people. I felt I enjoyed doing maths and physics stuff far more than a lot of people on my course and everything, and I thought switching to a place like Oxford, I knew that the standard would be far, far higher, and relative to where I would rank in the year at Oxford would probably be a lot lower and everything, compared to staying somewhere like an Exeter, and I'd rank a lot higher in the year. To me, that doesn't matter. I knew that the person I would be at the end of the year, in terms of my understanding for the subject and everything, let's say that it was the exact same course, but you had the different students and everything, these ones would push me, and if I'd rank lower, I'd still be a smarter student than ranking higher at Exeter and everything. And I just think the standard of the students, they just care a little bit more about the subjects, they work a little bit harder, and if you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, just spending my time with like a bunch of people that are really pushing me and everything, that's always just going to be a good thing, and that's just going to kind of help me move up and basically get what I really wanted out of it. I wanted to have people kind of just make me go shift to the next gear and everything. So yeah, I feel like that's something that is brilliant. The hard work is, it rubs off. Like there are days where I can do 8-10 hours, and then all of a sudden I can finish that day and still go, oh bro, I don't know if I did enough compared to some of these people. Like it really is sometimes a case of the standard is so much higher than what I used to have to deal with and everything, and it's really good. It makes me do a lot more stuff, but it's almost basically leading off to the first con and everything, is that, like I said, there are days where I do 8 to 10 hours and I feel like I've not done enough. So there's this idea that it's almost hyper demanding, more than you really need to feel like I shouldn't be doing 8 or 10 hours in a day and not feeling like I've done enough. Like that is beyond enough and everything. You're actually probably not taking in anything beyond like 6. I very much like just doing 6. It's always kind of worked between 4 and 6. Like I probably shouldn't say that, but like between 4 and 6 was absolutely beautiful for me and everything. But like there are days 8 hours, good revision and everything, and it's this idea that the first con is that it's so demanding that you almost feel like you don't have time, you feel overwhelmed. And I think obviously doing an undergrad, I was able to mature and everything, but it's very different if you're a A-level student coming in to go and do your first year and everything. I'm not quite sure how taxing the first year is, but I know it definitely won't be anywhere near a master's course and everything, but it's still that jump from A-levels to jumping into your first year of uni and everything, and it's just so demanding that you almost feel a bit too swamped and everything. I think I was able to mature and understand that there's going to be a jump up. I'd seen it from A-levels to uni and everything, and I kind of expected it, but for some people they just won't really expect to know how much that jump up is. And just from a rogue little guess, I just would assume that that jump up might just be a little bit more, just because actually, let's just throw another con out there and everything. It's a lot more independent. I feel you don't get as much support as you would at like some of these other unis and everything, because I feel the people that they want at like an Oxford or something is you enjoy it so much, you want to go and do your extra bits and bobs and everything, and that's why you're kind of there. Whereas like at other unis, I mean, I've actually even spoken to like some of my lecturers and everything. The reason that certain things were like very strict and everything is because they had to drag people that just had no motivation to go and do anything. And it's, you don't really find that at all at Oxford. I've never really found anyone that goes, oh bro, I'm just gonna completely skip all the problem sheets here or do this, that, there. Yeah, obviously some of us, like if it's a problem sheet and we're just a bit too busy, we can like throw it to the side and everything. But there are people that just skip things that are going to be completely graded and everything, which like down at Exeter, and I was a bit shocked with that. Like they just didn't care enough about the grade. You just don't really find that here down at Oxford. And I think like the lack of support, the fact that people are still able to do stuff is just kind of nuts. But it's a culture shock and everything. It makes you have to be a lot more independent, which is, I guess, in its own right, positive. But for a lot of people, they haven't matured in the way where it's like, right, I need to start doing everything for myself. I need to self-teach this, I need to self-teach that. Obviously, you'll still have your lectures, but not everything's going to make sense. And you kind of want to go to your lecturers to help out a bit more, but it's not always as easy that I've found this year as it has been in like previous years for me, because I could just pop into the physics building, give a little knock on the door, speak to my lecturers and everything, and they'd be fine. We could easily chat for like basically every single one of them. Then I could sling off an email, they'd be able to get back to me pretty quick. I found that I send some emails down at Oxford, some of them just don't get back and everything. I go and try and knock on doors, and you're not actually allowed into the same building as some of your lecturers and everything, because it's quite private and stuff, like while they're doing work. So you need to have like authority to be allowed, or like authorization to be allowed through and everything. And that stuff makes it quite difficult. I feel if you're someone that's very chill, being independent, perfect for you. Go for it. Like you'll flourish like a flower, right? But if you're someone that needs still, a little bit of guidance and everything, that might be something that's not quite as, what would be the word? Ideal. I can't really think of a better one, or optimal, or yeah, I'm not quite fully literate when it comes to that type of stuff, which is why I do maths and physics, because I don't need to worry about all that nifty stuff over there and everything. It would be pretty cool, but as cool as it would be, I'm not really gonna go and spend hours in a day trying to get there as of now and everything. But yeah, and then another thing that I thought, let's go back to a pro and everything with Oxford. I think one thing that I've really enjoyed is the people that I've also met have come from like so many different like areas and everything. So it's a very diverse kind of uni relative to like what was at Exeter and everything. And people have come through all different walks of life, this, that, the other, and it's nice to hear different stories. Whereas like at Exeter, everyone just came from Surrey. Bro, I've lived in Surrey for a bunch of years and everything, and that was, it's not going to change very much if I speak to a different Exeter student that's just from Surrey or something. But in terms of like at Oxford and everything, yeah, it's quite diverse. You meet a bunch of people, but you also meet people that are probably going to move on to go do some really fancy, amazing stuff. I'm not saying that people at like another uni won't go and do that, but it's just, I feel people at Oxford are just a bit more motivated to go into like those sorts of fields. So I mean, it's a level of like networking and everything. And I mean, like on the topic of networking, you also have like careers fairs and everything, and these go on throughout the entire term and everything. So throughout the term, you're literally there. Let's say you do law, there will be a law careers fair where they get the top companies in and everything, and you get to go and speak to like their recruiters, if not people that are working there as a lawyer or something. We've had a bunch of trading companies come in, and that's stuff that like Exeter didn't do. Like, or maybe they did for like very small stuff, like a couple finance things here or there, but at Oxford, I've got to speak to people that have worked at like the top trading companies in the entire world, the biggest hedge funds and everything, JP Morgan people, and like it's pretty amazing the types of connections and the networking that they have going on there. And it's just nice to meet a bunch of different people, because it gets boring if you just speak to the same people every day all the time and everything, and you don't ever go and venture out to go and see some other stuff. But I mean, some people just like never having to really change stuff, and they don't like mixing it up. If that's for you, then cool, just ignore everything that I said there. So yeah, and then actually, you know what, I'll end on a con, even though I believe I've got everything beneficial out of being Oxford, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really good fun, and you know, I love Exeter, but at the same time I love Oxford for very different reasons. They're different unis and everything, but you know, like I've mentioned, it's the pros and cons at each one. And for part of my life, Exeter was great. The other part of life, Oxford's great. So the one thing, I'll just end on a con, just to bad mouth the big O a little bit and everything, even though I think it's brilliant, is I think it's a little bit less organized, which is yeah, kind of a little bit of a weird one and everything. You would think like, oh, Oxford's so prestigious, is this, that, the other, and everything, and it's like, yeah, bro, it's a cool name, it really is, but it's actually quite unorganized from what I've seen. So like, there's just a poor communication. Maybe this is just for my course, but this is just for what I've seen, and obviously I can only speak for myself and everything. But back at Exeter, okay guys, term 1's done. Your timetable is released at like week 10, so before term even ends in Exeter, timetable's released and everything. You know exactly which date your exams are. At Oxford, it's like, okay, when are we getting our timetables? Oh, they'll be out sometime. What do you mean sometime, bro? It's like, oh yeah, you'll have them before the beginning of next term. When's the beginning of next term? We'll let you guys know. It's like, there's a pretty poor communication there. I'm like, I don't mind, like, you know, you kind of give me hand wavy-ish, but like, don't do it for so long and everything. At least tell me roughly when you're going to give me the information and everything, so I don't have to just wait and then all of a sudden check my email and go, oh shit, I'm 3 days off from an exam. So there's that, and then there's also just stuff like with homeworks and everything. Like, obviously it's 8-week terms. We used to have, so we would have homeworks in weeks, on the odd weeks for quantum field theory, we had it in 3, 5, and 7. I was like, cool, right? It's like, we'll submit the other one, or no, it was 2, 4, 6, and then I thought we'd submit the other one in 8, right? Turns out that we weren't submitting it in week 8, we were actually meant to submit it in week 7, but that just wasn't really communicated. Sure, it was on the campus page or whatever, I'm pretty sure it was there, but it was like, why just change it up? Just, I don't know, like, maybe that's me being a little bit immature and not really just checking it and everything, but I thought it would be pretty consistent, at least for something like, that's a small little change like that. But one, like, I guess you can blame me for that, but I mean, it just feels like that's something that I feel back at Exeter probably would have been communicated if it just didn't fit a sequential order or something. So I feel Exeter just always communicates stuff very well. The physics department was phenomenal. Not to say it isn't at Oxford. Absolutely love it. Loving the maths, the physics, this, that, the other, and everything. But I felt it was a lot more hands-on at Exeter, and they really, you know, you got to know them a lot more, and I built up really good relationships. Yeah, you could argue it's because you were there for a longer time. Yeah, absolutely fine, go for it. But I think each year I built up more relationships there than I probably would land up building up throughout this year here. But maybe I can be wrong there, and I hope I am, because I would love to get to know some more lecturers and everything, because, you know, it's always good to know some people that really enjoy, like, the world of physics in my eyes and everything. But yeah, that is the pros and cons rounded up and everything. So yeah, I hope people enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys later.